Hey everyone, this is podcast 8, I'm pretty sure. And I've been to places where weed is legal and I don't smoke weed often, but when I have, I smoke weed for an adventure in my mind, not so much to feel comfortable. I find a sativa that makes me paranoid instead of an indica that makes me feel good. Then I smoke enough to get scared. Then once I'm scared, I keep smoking. And as you keep smoking and keep smoking, the paranoia goes from reasonable to excessive. I think I know the best way to describe that too high kind of a fear. You know those prank video games on the computer where you go through a maze and a scary face pops up with like this screeching voice? Or like you watch very closely as the car drives by and then a scary face pops up? Well, when you get really, really high on weed, like on a strain that makes you paranoid, that's what it feels like is going to pop up on every single turn that you make. Like everything that's just like rising in the peripheral vision that you're turning to and coming into your center focus. You always think it's going to be that face screaming. That's how high you can get. It's certain sativa dominant strains like Chemdog or Snowcap or Sour Diesel, which really make you paranoid. Where, like, you begin to realize that, like, when you really are paranoid about real shit, even that is most likely just your mere mind groping for something to worry about. And there's really nothing to worry about, but it's like, it's to the point where, like, if you lived in a place where bears lived and you saw a bear outside the window, you would be 100% sure that they're only near your house because it's been planning to eat you. But if you go live in a place where there are no wild animals at all, you'll still have the same level of paranoia. You're just going to be forced to invent it over more and more unlikely, crazy things. You'd be like, lightning's going to hit me. They just changed the law back to weed is not legal here. I didn't get the memo. Once you eliminate every possible cause of paranoia, your mind just like desperately invents things to fill their place. It's like, I have to be paranoid. What the fuck is there to worry about? I will invent or believe ghosts in my room. It's like, blah, I scared myself. But, and then again, like, at some point, when there's absolutely nothing else left to worry about, and you've kept smoking and smoking anyway, eventually you'll begin considering that the power of belief can cause things to manifest. And you're believing way too much that the scary face from the prank video game will pop into your view from the peripheral. Like the actual possessed woman herself will appear. You're worried you're believing it with too much power of belief. And you really will be tiptoeing around your house, anticipating it. But anyways, next I want to talk about this really weird thought or like theory that I had while I was high one time. It was a theory about, you know how some days you have on days and off days, like literally down to physics? Like picking things up and putting things down. You have this stretch of bad luck where you'll put a cup just on the edge of the table so that you accidentally spill it or something like that. Or other things like when you go to hit a light switch and you miss it, like way more times than you can even fathom how you missed it. And it's just like, it's just crazy. And things like that. The reason they happen is literally because physics changes. Or at least it doesn't really change, but a force of physics is acting differently on you during different times of the year and of like the month or the day or week or whatever. Because literally the moon that is affecting gravity on Earth, like, you know how the moon affects the oceans? Let's just put it that way. The moon brings the ocean tide in and pulls the ocean tide out. So when you have on days and off days, it's literally because you get attached to one position of the moon, or one subtle setting of the moon's gravity. Or if I can get almost woo-woo, maybe it's more than just the moon. It's all the planets having the slightest gravitational nudge on your subconscious or unconscious that you get accustomed to. So you get attached to one orientation of the local perceivable celestial bodies, and your unconscious or subconscious or something you can feel with your senses, and you attach to that orientation. And the truth is they're constantly moving, and it's affecting you differently. It's sort of, it just throws you off. And you start fucking missing the light switch because literally the ocean tide went in, or the ocean tide went out a little bit. There's like an effect on the Earth that you're not liking, but it is happening. And you can notice it if you go to the ocean. Like, there's an effect from the fucking moon, I think. But anyways, I don't know for sure. But since Bezos went to space yesterday, I'll end this podcast talking about one crazy theory that I had about galaxies. But I need to talk to like an astrophysicist and ask him this question. So like, how do I put this? You know how they say that velocity affects time? Einstein discovered this. It's called the special theory of relativity. The faster you're going, the slower time acts on you. So if you have a particular particle that explodes at a particular rate, if you accelerate it to nearly the speed of light and watch the way it explodes, it will appear to you to be exploding in slow motion. But from its perspective, it's exploding in normal motion. So the question I want to ask an astrophysicist is it possible that our galaxy might be spinning at or moving through space-time at such a fast speed that another alien species might just be coming out of Neanderthal days for them today, and in one day for us is like 1,000,000 years for them. So we'll go into tomorrow, and that alien species will have 1,000,000 years pass for them, or 1,000,000,000 years. So when we think about intelligent life that might be out there, we also have to realize, not only might there already be species who are millions of years ahead of us and have been around for a long time, but 1,000,000 years can pass in a day. 1,000,000,000 years can pass in 5 days. A super advanced species could just pop out of nowhere from what within our perspective was nothing. But what I really need is to ask an astrophysicist about this, if it's possible, because they would know how fast the galaxies spin and how fast they move, and they would be able to tell me if that kind of time distortion is possible. But anyway, I have to say that if an alien species was going to pop up out of nowhere like a super advanced species, it would require them to be moving slower than us, right? It would require us to be moving very, very fast relative to them. That way we would be in slow motion relative to them. They would be in fast motion, sort of, relative to us. But I'm not sure if we're moving that fast. And I'm not sure if you could tell. Like, could you measure that? Probably not. But, like, you might not even be able to really know or answer that question for sure. Because even if you take a look at the deepest part of the Hubble Deep Field, all of that might be moving very, very fast through a particular patch of space-time. But that's just one little teensy tiny part of space, you know? There might be some other part that we haven't even discovered that's moving slower or like some insanely different speed that we weren't even expecting. And that is where like the relative distortion could pop up. But anyways, I guess I'll turn this podcast off for now. It's been 11 minutes for this one.